Well, as you can see, the airport is jumping today. But I'm on my way to a flight that I think is going to take me to a new normal in Norway. Why Norway? Well, that's kind of hard to explain. But getting here to this point in time, it's been a long, tedious, and confusing journey.
It all started in 2019 when my wife and I joined 20 family members for a trip up Norway's coast. Really, we had no idea what to expect. As it turns out, we were captivated by the people, the culture, and especially the land. 8 months later, in February 2020, we were back. This time, we were there to check out universities in Oslo, Trondheim, Ålesund, and Bergen. Darcy had a few programs she was thinking of attending, and we wanted to get a feel for each community. Plus, we wanted to see what a Norwegian winter was really like. And then COVID hit. Since we were locked down, it gave us plenty of time to sort out if this was something we really wanted to do. We looked at all of the options and their expected impact. Darcy had landed on a couple of programs she was interested in, and I even found two where I wanted to apply. By the end of November, we sent off our applications and waited. Competition for these programs is really fierce, mostly because the education in Norway is free, even for international students. They say that only about 3% of folks actually get in. Unfortunately, because of that competition, we received mostly rejection letters. Darcy did get waitlisted for one program. So by the end of April, we were pretty much resigned that it just wasn't going to happen. That is until
I heard from Bergen.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Suddenly, everything was in motion. First, we had to wire money to a bank in Norway, proving that we had the resources to live there for a year. Next, we had to find a house to rent that would take dogs with a landlord who would let us sign a lease from 7,000 miles away. That included wiring 3 months' rent as a deposit. Of course, my passport expired during COVID. To even apply for a student visa, I needed a current passport number. That became a mad scramble with hours spent on the phone trying to get my passport processed during a pandemic.
All representatives are still busy.
In June, when it came time to turn in our visa application, we just assumed our daughter in Chicago could do it for us. Of course, we were wrong. 3 days later, we were on a late-night flight to Chicago, just so the next morning we could go through interviews, fingerprinting, and get our faces scanned. Then it was back to waiting. Like most countries, Norway closed their borders to all non-residents. That meant that no visas were being issued to anyone. We heard that students were probably going to get let in August, but not their spouses. With a leap of faith, I bought a one-way ticket to Bergen, and we hoped for the best. There were still a ton of details to sort out for the move. For example, we had to decide what would happen to our house while we were away. 2 of our kids agreed to move in along with a third friend. This meant we had to tear down our COVID home offices to make room for those folks, and then set up temporary space until we left. I also cleaned out my office at work because, well, while I'll continue to work for Microsoft while going to school, it'll be remotely. I then had to figure out how in the world do I get my gear to Norway. We weren't taking a lot, just bedding, winter clothes, and, well, my media production gear. Shipping our belongings is expensive, but the process forced us to decide what stuff was really important. We packed our pallet of boxes for a journey that will take 10 weeks, traveling by a slow boat to Bergen. 2 weeks ago, I finally got my visa, but not Darcy. It was a hard decision for us to make, but we decided that I would go alone, with the hopes that maybe in a couple weeks or a month or 2, that restrictions in Norway would ease and she'd finally arrive about the same time as our slow boat to Bergen. So after plenty of tearful goodbyes with family, some hugs for my dogs, and one last long hug from my wife.
I'm here, about ready to get on a flight that's gonna take me to the unknown. But honestly, I can't wait to see what happens next.